what I like, and again, we've spoke about this all week, his demeanor,
Yeah.
I truly just can't get over. Because again, even though it's early, I mean, there's so many people out here that they're not screaming or anything, but you know, especially back in California, I don't think he's used to this in the morning time.
No.
You know what I mean? So for him to act like he look at him, Simon, he's not even turning a hair, just so complacent.
I mean, he stands there, he jogs perfectly, he's listening to the command. The pony boy is not hooked up to him. There's no fear of him like doing anything silly.
Saying hi to Grande there, kind of lopes by him.
I mean, he's just, look at that.
Saying Grande,
He could stand there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He's saying, hey, Grande, get a good look at my rear end. That's what you'll be seeing from the quarter pole home. He's just a majestic animal there.
And I feel like, too, of all the interviews, like Bill Mott, you could just tell he's so happy and comfortable. I think Sovereignty's doing so good. And I think with Michael McCarthy, too, we've seen so many interviews with him. That's what makes me feel like this horse is doing well, too. You could just see the sense of ease in his interviews, how happy he is, that he knows journalism could not be going into this race any better.
And I'll tell you, Michael McCarthy is all business when he's at the track.
Oh, yes.
And we've seen a little bit of that curtain lifted up. We've seen a little bit of levity, a little bit, which is atypical, but I think it's atypical in a good way for Michael.
That's what I'm saying. You could just tell. I don't think journalism could be doing any better. And again, we've showed him with his work, gallop, jog. I mean, truly hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, so he's down at the wire. He's behind us. He's going to come galloping by, and we know what he's going to. So look at this from a trainer standpoint. He stood to point him the right way, walking down the racetrack like he's going to exercise, and he doesn't just bolt off.
Yeah.
He walks, he jogs into a gate, and then he's going to make the transition into a gallop or a canter. So, I mean, he's just an absolute pro. I mean, a lot of horses, once they turn,
they want
go time.
Yeah,
Turn
they
and
want
burn,
to take
Joe.
off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at his neck bowed like
Bro.
that too. Oh, that's so pretty.
Simon, look at that.
Just right into his gallop and that sets the tempo. I've always talked about the transition into a work, and that sets the tempo for gallop. So what he's going to do, he's probably going to gallop a lap and a half, almost a mile and a half. That's a horse coming up on the inside of him, make him just get a little bit aggressive. But
So, Simon, you said after the Santa Anita Derby, he could be any kind of horse.
Yeah.
You thought, I mean, as good of a Triple Crown prospect as we've seen in recent years. When was the last time you saw a horse that was that dominant on the racetrack that made you think that, and then comes into the Derby working like this?
American Pharaoh.
That's
Yeah, I didn't even have to think about it.
I mean, you've made that comparison before,
Yeah.
and you're still going to keep making it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not the same type of horse, but I mean, American Pharaoh to me it's one of the best moving biomechanically great horses I've ever seen, the way he moved. This horse has got a kind of a little different action, but I mean, he's just so fluid, and look, I mean, he does everything that his rider wants. I mean, just no faults.
He has a ton of energy right now,
Yeah.
too. When he passed us on the first turn here, you notice that horse to the inside. His exercise rider actually pointing him out only about 3 pads off the outside rail, just so he didn't hook up with him.
Yes.
Because you could tell he is so on tilt, ready to go in a good way. If he would have stayed next to that other horse galloping, that's a facet to where they probably could have hooked up and had a really quick open gallop. So again, this is exactly what you want to see after a workout and leading up to the Derby, just absolutely full of himself.
And from a trainer's point, watching from the stands, Mike, there's no excuse for an exercise rider to get caught in traffic. They close the track.
Right.
There's 16 horses out on a mile racetrack. Don't be getting hooked up in traffic. There's no excuse for it.
How important are these gallops? I know the first gallop back after work is important, but now these routine maintenance gallops throughout the week, how important are these, Simon? And is it just like before? You're not looking for anything to go right. You're just hoping nothing goes amiss.
Right, and because you're not going at the pace of a work, it can be a little difficult. Kind of Joe touched, they're just trying to get a lead change. He needs his head a little more. They don't want to, that's not a fault. He's got a tight hold on him. You've got to give the horse his head to the ability to switch leads, get that right lead over, but you don't want to give him enough to where he jumps in the bridle and does too much. But to Joe's point, galloping horses is a little tougher than working sometimes, because when you're working, you're going a little quicker, you can drop the head. You can't go too fast, can't go too slow, but these horses are full of energy, and you're trying to keep an 1,100-pound animal in like third gear, right, Joe?
Yeah, no, and that's why an exercise rider's job is very, very important. Because again, I would say the difference between like a Burnham Square and journalism. You know, Burnham Square, you really, it's all about just getting him not to take off with that head bowed. You know, that we watched a video earlier on him. You just have to set your hands back and get his head down and go. Journalism, kind of the same thing, but different action. You keep your hands back, but his head is a little bit higher, but at the same cadence for both horses.
And there he is, just the star of the show, and there's no question about it.
And watch
all
him pull
week
up. I guarantee he's like, we saw the start, and I'm all about that. When I was training, I mean, obviously some horses can't, they're not robots. They can't all be like that, but I would like them to stand, walk off into their exercise, then jog, then gallop. And the same gearing down. You know, you want to go down into that slower gait and just let them trot out.
And this is different than what Bill Mott's going to do with Sovereignty, because Sovereignty, he's going to try and ask him for a little bit, just a little leg stretcher at the end of his gallop.
Yeah, I mean, that's patented. I mean, Bill's been doing that for a long time. He always gallops mile and 3/8, mile and a half, and that's why you can work 102 every 5-6 days. But if you're doing a little more in the gallop in between, Bob Baffert works his horses faster. They don't do as much galloping in between the workouts.
So what do you make of this gallop before we move on from journalism? Everything's still perfect?
Yep.
I mean, to me as a jockey looking at this, Mike, this is like when you're at the valet and you see that Ferrari sitting out there that you want to jump in. That's what I think about.
Yep. You're like, please don't bring my Honda Civic around right now. Let's take a look at Sovereignty on the track, because we are reporting role here. He thinks he's the star, and in any other year he would be. This is another magnificent mover and a horse with great conformation. Maybe he doesn't have the mental acuity per se as journalism, but everything else, he looks every bit as good.
Yeah, he does. I mean, all these horses, Burnham Square, Coal Battle, Sovereignty, Journalism, I mean, they've all got that thing where they have their head bowed at some sort of level. This horse's head's a little high, and you can see his mouth's open, but they've got that figure-8 noseband on. If they didn't have that noseband on, he might be a little more aggressive. That mouth might be a little more open.
He just visually, look at his hind end too. I mean, he just looks like an absolute tank. And again, his action, both horses are smooth, but you could see his action's a little bit kind of on the higher side, I would say, than say Journalism.
Yeah, he runs a little hotter than the other ones.
Yes.
You know, and we know that, and Bill said that. Ryder's just keeping his hands down. You don't want to, if he raises his hands, the horse's head's going to come up, and he's got to do it. And he just tried to get a lead change there. That's why he's doing that. But that neck strap, you see that strap around the horse's neck, that's for the rider, especially exercise riders, to just keep their finger in and they'll keep their hands down and not lift them up.
But another one, man, just what a great mover and what a great physical conformation, biomechanically. I mean, every single one of those attributes he has in spades.
So what you're going to see here, so he's coming around, he's at the top of the stretch, I think, right? Yep. And what you're going to see, he's galloping a little slower than Journalism, but the last, around the clubhouse turn and down the backside, you'll just see the cadence pick up a touch here. There's the lead change, and you see just
flawless.
His head.
So smooth. Now, how would you compare the way this horse moves, Joe, with the way Journalism moves?
They're close to the same, but different. Again, I think Sovereignty, he has a little bit, well, actually not so much now, but earlier it seemed like his front stride was a little higher. I would say like more of a turfy sort of a stride. But now I think he's absolutely striding out great after that. But I don't know, Journalism, he's just...
He's so smooth.
Just so flawless.
And I think a lot of that, there's the lead change. I think a lot of that is because this horse is going at his slower paces. I guarantee you.
Yes, that's a great point too.
Yeah, he'll smooth out. Well, he's not smooth out. That's the wrong word. He'll level off a little bit. Probably here in just a second. If he's not going to pick it up much. I mean, it's hard for the eye to pick it up, but just a little bit of a finish there where he can just walk home with some of that edge taken off him.
Well, both Sovereignty and Journalism are closers, but Sovereignty has more of a grinding style where he just keeps coming at you.
See?
And there he picks it up just a little bit.
Picks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We used to do it all the time. His head kind of, the rider's leaning a little more forward, a little less tension on the rein.
You can see it, his strides changed too.
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at him how he's really leveling. He's picking it up pretty good now.
So, and that I used to do that all the time. I haven't worked for Bill. That last, quarter mile 3/8, just let him finish up a little bit.
I love that. He actually got lower to the ground as he started finishing. But again, he looks really good as well. And again, we're only 2 days out. We've spoke about that even with workouts. I feel like you could do too much at this point. So I mean, they're really just trying to get them around there and get ready for 2 days from now.
All right, let's go to Andy B. and Cone. So there are the barn mates, Publisher, Tiztastic. They know each other well. They're drawn right next to each other in the Derby, and they are stretching their legs here. They've galloped and worked together often throughout their training careers, although both of them have their last spin by themselves.
Yeah, and the horse in front, Publisher, I mean, he's still a maiden. He doesn't want to race. Tiztastic a little more accomplished. They've worked together. They've been workmates. Publisher always going a little better. Maybe Tiztastic's not a good workhorse. But I think the horse in front, he would be my kind of long shot to use underneath in a superfecta, an exotic wager. Look, maidens don't do well in the Derby. I mean, you're trying to buck a trend there. It's like, you know, Flying Mohawks never run on the dirt. That's a big task to overcome. But he's going to be a big number. But I could see him grabbing a piece of it. The Derby trifectas, there's always one horse that jumps in there at a number in the top 4,
right.
Always, each and every year. And he could be it for me.
And both of these horses, because the pace could be real hot, Joe. If there's a meltdown, these are the type of horses that run up and grab a piece.
Yeah, for sure. And again, to Simon's point, I'm not saying that Publisher could win, but again, his style, if they go as quick as they should on paper, it could definitely set up on it. And look, Tiztastic's coming off of winning the Louisiana Derby. Publisher ran second in the Arkansas Derby. They both ran a career best 95 buyers. So, I mean, they are coming into this race, I feel like, starting to on the side of peaking. So, I mean, who knows? I feel like any one of those two could definitely jump up and run a big race.
Yeah, and I definitely think the blinkers last time helped Publisher. That was a major, a major help for him, especially with his running style. And you know, second-time blinkers, Kentucky Derby, and again, trip is going to be key. I think he's got him on now just for galloping too.
And Tiztastic too. We spoke about that. The Louisiana Derby was 1 mile and 3/16. Only a 16th more is the distance of the Kentucky Derby, which is 1.25 miles. And he wasn't getting tired at all in that race. He galloped out really well, showed a lot of energy after that race. So again, if you're looking for a horse that can handle the distance, 100% Tiztastic can.
Yeah, they can both handle the distance. Can they handle it faster than some of the top horses in here is the question. Because at this point, these are two very good horses. Do you put them in the top 3 or 4, though? I don't know. I don't know if you can put them in front of Sandman, Baeza, obviously, if he gets in. Yeah. Journalism, Sovereignty, opt for Baeza. But Neoequos is in the body of the field, and that's his mount right now.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen him much this week. I mean, 55-1 reflects his chance. I mean, looking at his past performances, I mean, he can't be in my business betting anyway. I just don't see any point of where he's going to be a factor at the finish of this race. In the early part of the race, yes, but I mean, as the races have got longer, I mean, the margin of defeat gets larger, right? So he goes to the front. As the races get longer, he kind of backs up. So, you know, he was winning at 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, and then he goes 1 mile and 16, gets beat 2 lengths, 1 mile and 8 gets beat 4 lengths. He's running 1.25 miles Saturday. If the pattern continues, which I fully expect, he gets beat 12 lengths. Yeah,
I agree. Again, he's won 2 races, but they were both sprinting. And I mean, he's going to have to step up in a big way on Saturday.
Let's get back to Baeza as Scott Hazelton standing by with John Sheriffs.